Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the LibTech Mayhem Retro Ripper. This board features LibTech's directional camber. So what that is a shifted back traditional camber. So when it comes down in the nose, it gets a little bit flat. It's not really a rocker until you load the camber up, then it elevates a little bit. That's gonna give you ease of entry in and out of turns, as well as more optimal powder flow, while maintaining a more purpose-driven camber off the back foot. So you're gonna be able to pop and drive this board to keep the nose on top of fresh snow. This board's available in 156, 161, and 166. I rode this board at Copper Mountain on a day that had overcast skies, warm temps, hot pow, and I mean like the hottest pow ever. Chop, chunder, a little bit of slush, creamy corduroy, and I rode it with my Rome Black Label bindings and my K2 Thraxis boots. So if you look at this board, clearly it's a directional flex. That means softer nose, progressively stiffening back up to the tail, except where the swallowtail is. That's gonna be a little bit softer. That's pretty much a given with a swallowtail. Torsionally, it's responsive, so when you twist it, it's gonna snap back. Overall, the flex is past middle of the road. It's a little bit on the stiffer side, but it's not quite a plank. The stability on this thing is awesome. It's that typical damp ride you get from a Mervin manufactured board. That means it's gonna absorb chatter, and when you get into really chunky terrain, it's gonna push right through it. At speed, any little bit of flap you get in the nose is gone before it even gets to the front foot. It's just gonna completely kill it off. And when you slam something that's frozen underneath the pow, you're not really getting body jarred with it. It's pretty much gonna crush everything in its path and keep on going so that you can keep on riding. Basically, this board wants you to stay on top of it and not get bucked around. So with that setback camber, you have to load it up like traditional camber. The nice thing is that you're gonna get more power out of the rear foot. So when you roll back on the tail, it snaps. Now, are you gonna win any awards for Supreme Boost? No, but it's got more than enough to porpoise in fresh snow, pop off of a cat track, launch a roller, hit a side hit. You know, if you're coming in hot and you got to boost off a rock or something, you're gonna be able to get it in the air. It's just not gonna be like insanely snappy. All right, so we're probably somewhere in this review and you haven't clicked like on the video. Do that now while you're there. If you haven't subscribed, click that. Click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. Yeah, no, I didn't waste my time. I was too busy smashing and slashing with this thing in the hot pow. Do I think you could pow butter with it? Probably. Did I want to? Oh, hell no, not in those snow conditions. Popping a 180, you're gonna have more surface area on the nose. You got a little bit of a flex point right where that flat ends and it starts to go into the long up kick in the nose. That's where you're gonna wanna aim for with the tail. It's gonna be wheelies, but did I do them? No. Could you do them? Oh, I don't doubt it, but not in those conditions. That pow was hot. This board can carve. What's nice is you have that setback camber. That's gonna give you a lot more power off the tail. It changes that front contact point initiation. So it may feel a little bit slow to engage, but once you get it on edge, you're gonna notice that you get a little bit more power and you can drive it. Since the last time I rode this, they got rid of the magnet traction on it. That changes how it locks in on edge. I'm not saying it doesn't lock in on edge. I'm just saying it got rid of that crutch of the magnet traction, in my opinion. So you're riding a more dynamic side cut to it. It's not disrupted. So you need to use a little bit more power. If you're used to a side cut that doesn't have magnet traction, you're not gonna have a problem. If you've been using a lot of magnet traction because it turns ice into powder, which is bullshit, then yeah, you're gonna notice it. Short, tight, quick carves, medium, mellow carves, you get a ton of power out of this board and you need a little more speed to get it to swoop the way you want. When you go for those deep, hard, aggressive carves, you can lay this board over. I'm talking dragging your bungus and your vungus on the snow, getting deep, toe side powder boners, all that fun stuff. Just lay it over, leave a trench, push into that camber and get it to spring you back out, transition it over to the other edge, do it the exact same. This thing will rip a trench. If anything, it actually got better at carving since the last time I rode it because it just feels like you can disengage it without being forced to be locked in from the magnet traction, which changes how you approach your carve and when you're going to transition and what you're going to do with it. Rider in mind. So who is this board for? It's the POW chasing resort ripper that's going to carve. Do you like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. Since the last time I rode it, they got rid of the magnet traction. The camber profile feels like it's been tweaked. You get a little bit more power out of the tail, and you get more of a dynamic carve out of it where you're not forced to be locked in and ride it out. This board floats, it floats well, especially in that hot POW that I was in. This was the perfect board to actually be testing that out. It cut through it. You could see the snow funneling out from the shape of the nose and it stayed on top of it. It didn't want to sink. This is a really good resort POW board or a deep days board if you're going after something like maybe you're going cat boarding or you're going to go hike out an access gate or you're going heli boarding. This will absolutely help you with it. Comparable boards: the Borealis Leviathan, the Amplid Snomellier, the Endeavor Archetype. Binding recommendations: the bent metal transfer, the Nitro Team, the Bataleon Astro full wrap. All right, this has been my review of the LibTech Mayhem Retro Ripper. Yeah, that's a mouthful, I know. If you're looking for some bindings for this, why don't you go check out one of the videos for one of the recommended bindings I just mentioned. That way, you know what you're getting when you try to match it up.